Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Villa. Today, we have a freelance model and University of Alberta Kinesiology student, Aarsh Verg. We will discuss modeling, social media, self-care, such as working out, sports, and meditation, men's mental health, and the stigma around it, and how to be confident and be true to yourself. Everybody, welcome. Everybody, welcome. Aarsh Verg. So, yeah, man, how's your day so far?
It's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man. You're
Yeah,
gonna have
you're
like
welcome.
the rest of
Yeah.
Sherwood Park feeling like celebrities by the end of this. Eh?
Dude, Sherwood Park is gonna be the most famous town.
Yeah, it's putting us on. That's what we need.
So yeah, bro, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, like he said in the intro, I'm a Bachelor of Kinesiology student at the University of Alberta. I'm in my fourth year, just about finishing up. But the main reason I'm here is because he wants to talk about my freelance modeling. So, there's a lot of places I can go with that, and I think the conversation that like we're about to open up to is like I can kind of bring it from the like my perspective of modeling, and then as well as everything that's a part of my degree, we're just talking about like how everything flows together like as a part of my life. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, bro. So can you tell us about kinesiology and modeling? How do these two intersect for you?
Well, in terms of like kinesiology is like a major where you want to know you're kind of conscious about your health, right? You want to we're a lot of like we have a lot of students that are passionate about like going to the gym, taking care of their body, learning about the body and all that type of stuff. Um, so a part of that is like you want to look aesthetic, which that's how it ties into modeling. You want to everyone who models also has like the same kind of goals. They want to take care of their body. They want to take care of their looks. So um, that's like kind of like if we had like a Venn diagram of like the two, like the middle is just like taking care of how you look and your body in general.
Yeah, dude. I think with modeling too is sure you can look good, but
Yes.
a great deal of it is ensuring that you have the right diet. It's ensuring that you do hit the gym. It's ensuring that you do take care of yourself, because your physicality is a big indicator of your health, right, and your well-being.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, what do you want to get out of modeling?
For me, I just kind of want to express myself. As you can see, like all the stuff that I put up, it's just I'm working with my friends first of all, and I get to have like full creative freedom with like you know like what I want to look like, what I want to wear, like where do we go, and everything kind of happens in the spur of the moment, which is really nice with freelance modeling. I have dabbled in like the professional world um, with like an agency earlier this year, but that's something that I wanted to do, right? Like when I started this out, I was like, okay, like let's see if I can get something like a job out of this. And then once I kind of signed with the agency and like we like that whole setup process, I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I wanted. Then I realized like in professional modeling, there's a lot more like standards that are not necessarily like healthy, right? Which is what I wanted to bring up when we were talking about like the whole intersection between like kinesiology and modeling, and like how taking care of your body and taking care of your health is like a priority for the two. But then with professional modeling, they want you to like do things that are not necessarily healthy for you, for everyone, in order to fit the look that they want, right? So like all the models that you see on magazines or on like all the billboards, like you think like, oh, they look good, they must be like extremely healthy, right? But it's like it's not always the case.
That reminds me of the bodybuilding industry too. You look at all these guys and they look fantastic, just all muscled up,
Mm-hmm.
oiled up, and practicing their positions and perfectly defined deltoids in their chest and their back. But then, when in the reality, lots of those guys are on roids. It's just full
Yeah.
blown steroids of all kinds. And I'd say it's similar with modeling, okay? Where you got these people who are on the cover of what is it, like Vogue? Wouldn't that be? Like
Yeah, like
Vogue
any of
and
the Vogue magazines or like
mhm.
any of like the designer brands like for like Gucci or like uh Versace and Dolce Gabbana, all
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
And it's hard to see what's real because there is such things like photo editing now and surgery and
Yeah.
all these things.
And it's like for bodybuilding, your goal is to get to look as strong as possible, as big as possible. Like I don't know entirely, but I'm just thinking in my head, like that's probably what you're mentioning when you brought
Yeah,
up
yeah.
like roids and all
Mhm.
that. But there's also supplements for people who want to look more shredded, right? Like they're gonna take a pill that like gets rid of like all their water weight, or like
Mhm.
you know, personally, if it makes you money, then like by all means go ahead. But that's not for me. Like I take pride in taking care of my health. So if I get to look as good as I can without putting anything into my body, then I'll go with that route instead.
Yeah, bro, it's not worth the price of
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing the internal, even for money, I'd say, man. It doesn't matter how much money, because if you don't have health, you don't have anything. Like, how
Exactly.
can you really enjoy, how can you be truly confident if you're dying inside? If you're
Yeah.
putting toxic chemicals in your body.
It's not real either.
Yeah,
Like that's the
yeah.
point. You're selling something that's not real. Like
Mhm,
if you
mhm,
see those people, which is the next part I wanted to get into when it comes to
mhm.
social media.
Yeah,
Nothing you see is real on the internet. Like
yeah.
nothing. No matter what, even if it's in the case of models who are taking supplements to uh, enhance their look in a certain way.
Mhm.
Also, just everything else in general.
Angles.
Like don't believe
Yeah,
anything you see on the
yeah,
internet.
yeah. So what does modeling mean to you? And you had touched on how you want to express yourself through fashion and you want to, you said professional modeling is a bit toxic and from your experience.
Uh,
And now it's something you enjoy, obviously.
mm-hmm.
And so what does it mean to you?
Did I stray from the conversation there? Is that like something that we can like cut out, or is that
What's up?
like okay, I'm just gonna like
It's all
go
good,
over
bro.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, is that like something that I strayed from? Is that like the
It's just a
question?
convo, man. It's all
Okay.
good. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
no, we're chilling. Yeah.
yeah, we're chilling.
Um. So, what it means to me is like it's a form of expressing yourself through like an
Mhm.
like a I want to say a cutscene, like in a movie, if you pause and like you can tell like what's the story going on in this picture, right? Um, it's the same thing in modeling. You kind of want to use your imagination, like see what's going on behind the scenes,
Mhm.
like what's this person trying to say through a still image. Um, because you know what, most of the times when I'm doing these shoots, the photographer they'll ask me to look a certain way and they'll use like metaphors like it's like imagine if you're in this scenario or that and then like feel this emotion because I'm trying to make the audience think that, right?
It's an
So
art.
exactly, it's a
Yeah.
part. You're like acting in a still image.
Mhm.
So I enjoy like telling those stories, and like having people's interpretation of them, right? Because people will be like, "Oh, what's going on here? Like, what's?" I'll add like a song to an image, and then like I'll add a caption, and then from there, like it's kind of almost like sort of an inside joke between me and
Mhm.
like all the people who are creatively involved.
Mhm.
Uh, but then when I put it out, people have their own interpretation of like what the
Yeah.
message I was trying to convey, and it's like that's really beautiful in like any sort of art.
I never actually viewed modeling that way. I always thought it was, now that you put it that way, modeling can be an art. I kind of just always viewed it as vain, as like, sure, I love modeling too. I love fashion and I love looking get good, feeling great. But then when I see these people going on the catwalk and just seeing the pictures, when I do go to West Edmonton Mall,
Yeah.
I kind of view it as okay, these people, they love themselves. It's kind of vain. But then, as you've explained, it is an art because you do channel your emotions, and it's a creative experience with all the people around you, right? The editor, the photographer, you, the different poses that you um, show on your body, on your face, and it all comes together, and you can add music, different lighting, and it's beautiful, man. I really didn't view modeling that way. Now I'll actually think about it more.
That's my favorite
Mhm,
part is like
mhm,
every single post I
mhm,
make is like, okay,
mhm,
what was the song I was thinking of, or like
mhm,
what perfectly matches this
mhm.
this image, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll even think about that backwards, like one of the last photographers that I worked with, Trev, uh, he and I were just like thinking like, okay, imagine like this song was playing in the background of this image right here, and then like that would create the story per
Kind of the
se.
persona, the aura, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your theme? So when do you have like a specific theme that you want to get across, like a message, or is it different for every single picture
Um.
or video? I guess because you could also modeling video as well. Hmm.
Well, I'll get to the video part after. With each picture, it's more so the story of the shoot. That's how I kind of see it. So, I'll post up a bunch of pictures, excuse me, from different shoots. Like the last one that I had in the summer, uh, I had like three different pictures put up from that shoot, and they were all from like the all three different photographers. Um, and like that in itself is its own story, like in my head. And then the one before, in like the studio,
Hmm.
that in itself is one story, and then the like so on and so forth. So each part is like its own section, but honestly, like at the same time, it's like each individual's picture it like has its own story as well. I like to have them as individual pieces, but they can be looked at as like a collection as well.
Hmm. Kind of like there's like an arc, sort of like a
Yeah,
storyline to
sort of.
follow. Yeah, that's cool, man. Who inspired you to become a model?
It was actually my cousin. She got into it at a very early age. I think like I remember she's 27 now, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong if you see this.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think around when she was like 14 or 15, I could remember her like always. She was always had like some sort of self obsession, right? That's a thing. You're gonna have like some. If you're kind of getting into this, you're gonna end up being a little bit self obsessed. But she had that from the get go, and I would see her like working on images of her all the time. Like she edits her own photos as well, so she's had that, like how do I look as good as possible in front of the camera, and then she actually like progressed a lot. Like she's eventually ended up becoming a professional model
Oh
where she
wow, good
is.
for her. That's awesome.
Um, and the first time I did a shoot, which was just like with one of my friends I used to work with, that was just initially that wasn't because of inspiration from my cousin, right? I was like, okay, this is something I can do for fun. Like, why not like have a photo shoot? Like, I may as well have good photos of myself.
Mhm.
And then I visited her in New York that summer, and then I'd see how she would pose in pictures. And this seems like like really mundane, but it's hard to describe unless you've seen it. She looks so naturally, like she knows how to naturally pose for a picture
Mhm.
and look aesthetic and like have that look, like switch that mode and have that look on her face as it's like she's in a magazine. And that's like, we'd just be walking around anywhere and it's like every 5 seconds, like, hey, can I get a picture here? Can I get a picture here?
Mhm.
And but she would like she literally looks different from all of us in those photos. And then I realized, yo, like that's something I want to do is just be able to have that switch if I just want to like stand out,
That's awesome.
right?
So you see your cousin be successful in the modeling industry, and you see how capable she is, and she can strike up any pose and make it her own. And every single emotion it seems heartfelt, hey, within that picture, and she's mastered it, right? In your perspective, um, where do you draw the line though between like, is it narcissism or confidence, right? Because I feel that way. So I can get, I like
It's a
myself.
good
I love
question.
myself, and I love looking at the mirror when I feel great. And but sometimes, is it sometimes confidence can be too much, can be quite what's that called? What would you say the difference is between narcissism and confidence?
Like it's more so the line between confidence and arrogance. But narcissism,
Mhm.
maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I think that
I don't know if
my
I can like
my take,
admit that, but I'll say, yeah,
bro,
sure.
my take is it's narcissism if you think you look good and you're better than others. It's confidence if you
Mm-hmm.
are comfortable in your own skin. That's it, right? Because you can put others down and you can think you're the best and you don't listen to other people. That's narcissism. But when you're confident, when you vibe with yourself, when you walk around the gym, on campus, to work, and you have this body language of telling everyone that you are comfortable in your own skin, which I believe everyone should be confident, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a way to go, man. We need to look in the mirror and love ourselves. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if a million people love us. If we don't love ourselves,
100%.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't
That
matter if
times
we're
100,
praised.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what role does social media play in your career as a freelance model, and how do you navigate between the challenges and opportunities it represents?
The challenges of social media or of modeling.
The yeah, both as a well, I guess they kind
Well,
of play hand in hand.
they do play in hand in
Yeah.
hand, but I try to strictly limit social media to
Mhm.
just producing things,
Yeah,
right? Um, Obviously, if I could, I'd just delete it altogether. But
me too, bro.
um, for like the passion that I have, like within modeling, and then also just like documenting like other parts of my life, like I need it for that reason. But in consuming, like if I could get rid of that part, um, that's the route I would go because that's like where all the negativity comes in. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with social media when you're using it for like the purpose it's given you, which is, expressing yourself, sharing what you want to share with the world, like whether it's just, your daily activities or, like how you post things at the gym, or for me if I'm posting my photo shoots, just having, a time out with my friends.
Are you balling it up?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like whether it helps anyone or not, I'm posting it because it's fun for me. I enjoy doing that, and that's like the positive aspect of it. But then the negativity comes from what you're looking at, because uh, your social media knows you better than anyone does, if we're being honest. Because like
Yeah.
the algorithm knows you.
It knows just it tracks just how long you stay in that photo if you like it, and it tracks just in relation to that photo, what are the chances that you're gonna look at that photo again, or and then it scans just what's common in the interests that you have, and it matches you up.
Hmm. It just forces you to click, and then it'll just make reels that all these reels that are being fed to you or everything that's suggested for you, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram, uh, it's catered to make you click and get a rise out of you no matter what it is, right? If they can find like the smallest insecurity that you have based on the content that you like or share or look at, it'll harp on that and then it'll just make that grow constantly. Like, and it'll just, if you have a social media addiction where you just constantly need that rush of like,
The
okay,
dopamine
what's
hit.
going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's a hard cycle to get out of, and then that's what leads to a lot of, that's what destroys a lot of confidence in people
Mhm.
because they're comparing themselves to, you know, things that they see that aren't real, and that's what's being fed to you, right? If you're a bodybuilder and you're trying to like pursue that, and then all these people who are, they're not natural,
Yeah.
or there's some, maybe they just have better genetics and that's not something you can control. It's gonna make you feel worse about yourself, and if that's all you consume, then it'll just build up in your brain.
Yeah, if you're constantly looking at these ultra fit people, and then you look
And
in
you
the
don't know
mirror.
what they've done to
Yeah,
get there. That's the
yeah,
thing.
and you look in the mirror and you see the work you've done, right? Maybe been going to the gym a week, or maybe you haven't gone to the gym. Maybe you've been going to the gym for a year, and you don't see the results that these people on social media have shown. And then you see the models, and then you see all the elites, right? It morphs your reality, and when your reality is morphed, that plays a toll on your well-being, right? It's just
Exactly.
it's terrible for a lot of people, and
Makes you
they
feel like you're
shouldn't.
not good enough, but
Yeah,
that's not the case.
yeah.
If you work on yourself enough, it should show in
Yeah.
your demeanor.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Mhm.
like all these apps, and honestly everything else that comes from it shouldn't have the ability to bring you down, but it can. You might not even know it does, but it does.
Yeah, I didn't know it, but in elementary, middle school, even high school, or actually in for some of my 20s, I didn't really know the whole social media thing is just horrible for your brain, and I just consumed it willy-nilly. Just, okay, I'm bored. I can't just sit there. I need something. So just for hours on end, and the algorithm does a great job of hijacking your brain and takes advantage of the reward system, and you just waste hours. And while on top of wasting your time, right, just mind-numbingly just scrolling, you're I was comparing myself to these millionaires, whether it be their status, their money, their kind of what they've done, and there's a lot of lying on there. A
Mm-hmm.
lot, yeah,
Goes back to what I was saying earlier.
yeah,
Nothing you see on the internet is real, no
yeah,
matter
yeah,
what.
yeah, yeah. It just morphed, and it
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of people will lie just to get more likes. It's
Yeah, it's
yeah.
their way of getting
Mhm.
money, so
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
can't trust
Mhm.
everything that they put out there. They're there just to,
Yeah.
stack their bread and feed
Yeah.
their families, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is good for them, but you got
Mhm.
to understand the reason they're doing it for. You can't take their incentive and then
Mhm.
integrate it into your own life. It's
'Cause
not the same.
yeah.
You're not gonna get the same results if you like listen to this random guy and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
I did all of these things every single day. Yeah, well, if he did that, first of all, you don't even know if he's telling the truth,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Second of all, even if you did that, it doesn't mean you're gonna end up exactly where he is. So
Mhm.
you gotta find how to make your own like progress and not
Yeah.
just follow the routine of someone else, because
Mhm.
then what's going to happen is you're going to do all that and then realize you don't get anywhere. You're like, oh, I'm not as close to this person I saw on social
Mhm.
media.
Mhm.
Boom, it goes back to you feeling awful about yourself.
You also have to take into account their credibility. Like if they have a PhD and they're well liked and you've read the reviews and they're selling a program, sure, it's probably a credible program. But if they make promises such as, okay, gain 20 pounds of muscle in a week, look like The Rock, be a millionaire, now it's not just for fitness as well. If they make bold claims, chances are, and then they're not credible, and then chances are they might just be making their money off of you instead of their idea. You know what I mean? You ever come
Yeah,
across those
exactly.
people?
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible, man. And it's just like lots of people out there should just be aware and do their own due diligence. And just because someone's charismatic, just because someone's attractive, just because they have a large following, doesn't mean that they're there to serve you.
100%.
Yeah, there's just a lot of bad things out there online, and we need to be able to decipher what's the truth and what's not. Because there's also AI now, man. Like you don't know whether
Mm-hmm.
that information that was said.
Yeah, it's just gonna
Yeah,
get worse and worse.
yeah,
Everything on the internet is gonna become more and more
yeah,
of a lie. So
yeah, yeah. Lots of misinformation.
Yeah. Lots of misinformation and just
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of scamming. So
Yeah.
if at some point like it'd be a good idea to ditch social media like altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
On the bright side, I do use my Instagram a lot and YouTube, and it has connected me with a lot of people that I would have never been able to.
Exactly. Yeah. There we
Yeah,
go.
there's good things in all things, and then there's the bad. But there's your ability to communicate with each other, to keep in touch with your friends, to post pictures, express yourself, right? Through
Yeah.
modeling for you, for me, for this podcast, fitness. But then there should be regulation, right? When how you use these devices, because there can be weapons.
Yeah. I think the
Mhm.
the interaction of social media should be between people that you know. Like that's the positive end from it is um like you said, how you post these podcasts and all your fitness posts, and me with modeling, that goes into like the production side, which is where I think everything becomes positive. If you're connecting with your friends, if you're reaching out to someone, like I'm sure that you reached out to people through Instagram, like, hey, want to join this podcast, like that's production, right? That goes into production. Which yeah, I totally agree. Like that's all the positive aspects of it, and I think that's what we should be using it for.
And it depends how you use it. Like if you're okay, let's say you're doing modeling, you're doing the exact same thing. Maybe somebody out there is interviewing a model, okay? But then they're both using it to get validation from others, and they're both the same thing, right? You got the same kind of model and podcaster, but they're posting, the way they go about social media is to use people as a means to an end, and to kind of flex on people, and to just, it's not even creative anymore. It's like to get a reaction. It's to seem like they're better, which is like, obviously you won't really know. Like for all you know, I can be very vain. I could just use this podcast for just all myself, to gain social status. But then it depends on actions too, and kind of with more repetition, more exposure, you get to see the true colors for people. But yeah,
I think anyone it's sort of easy to tell when someone's doing something for validation, and then right then and there it's like not credible.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a pretty good eye for that. Like I can spot insecurity from a mile away. So
can you spot it here?
hell no, man. No? Yeah, not at all.
Maybe a little bit.
You got it on.
No, dude. I always try to keep it real. I'm insecure, and there are days where I'm very confident, and there are days where I'm very insecure. It's the ebb and flows, man. It's just, if I was this confident all the time, I don't know, it just wouldn't be life, because like everybody goes through the rock bottom, or not rock bottom, but like low points.
It's a case whether you're trying to, like, everyone has insecurities, but it's whether you're trying to embrace them or hide them. And
yes.
If you try to hide them, the more it's gonna show. Like you're not. Everyone can see through like a tough guy act if you know what you're looking for.
Bro, I've met some guys who are muscular. They're the chads, let's say, the alpha males, but you can see through their conversation, the way they interact with you, it just breeds insecurity, because they try to like put you down, they try to out alpha you, try to lift more, and it's like, bro, we should be supporting each other. Like there's no point in trying to do better. Like what are you trying to do here?
Anyone who's trying to prove that they're tough through their words is immediately not tough.
All bark.
All bark, exactly. I can give you examples of that right now, but like 100 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, if someone's the toughest people I know, like all like the guys that I think are tough, like in my friend group, are the ones who they don't say the most. They show it, know.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't have to talk themselves up. Like, yeah, I'm this guy. I can do this. I can do all that. It's like you'll just know.
They just live it.
They live it, right?
I know what to add on to that. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts with Joe Rogan and even with Chris Williamson, and they have some MMA fighters that go on there, and they're some of the nicest guys ever. And when you approach them, apparently they're like they never talk about fighting. And they can whoop your ass.
They know they can whoop your ass.
They know, but they just try to. That's what they teach in martial arts.
And they know that you know that they can whoop their ass.
Yeah, you don't. Some people are all bark.
Have you ever seen that? Have you seen that one tweet interaction where it was like some guy was just talking trash to this one fighter over Twitter?
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, the fighter, I don't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Oh, you think you're tough for saying that over Twitter? Would you ever say that in my face?" And then the dude replies, "No, you'd kick my ass. That's why I said it on Twitter." And then the other guy was just like, "Oh yeah, carry on."
Respect the honesty.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of trolls, they hide behind a screen. Like, I'm so surprised just looking at the comments on Instagram, YouTube, just the heinous things that people say to each other. Hey? Like, they don't. People seem to forget that there's a human on the other side of that screen, like reading these malicious comments, right? Like this downright just racist, homophobic,
Dude,
just terrible, atrocious.
my cousin gets so many of those trolls on her posts, and like, or like her fiance made a joke about this earlier. Like he saw all my like replies to those trolls, because I was just bored one day, and I'm like, here,
Defending them?
yeah, I was just blaming them back, like, but the things that they were saying were like ridiculous, right? Like she had to delete all of them. Yeah, it's insane, and I'm like, what? Like at what point? Like how do you get to that point? That's what I think. Like,
yeah,
you're
sad people, man.
You're going on like people. You're going on places where you don't know the person, and you're just saying random things.
Yeah, and it's usually the people that don't have anything going for them too. Right? They have the time to hate. Like, how do people have time for that? Like, go out, go work out,
Get a
go
job,
study,
bro.
get a job.
Get a job.
Why are you on in the comments like trolling and it's usually private. You look on there and they got no posts in their profile picture. It's a black screen. It's probably like a burner account. It's like, why?
Yeah. I mean, I respect those who have their profile picture and everything. They keep their account open. It's like, you know, now you're just basically saying you're open to retaliation.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you're gonna hate, you put yourself out there too. Oh, if you can dish it, you also gotta take it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my rule.
Or like even going into the DMs, like what the.
Let's take it to the DMs.
Yeah, come on now.
As a kin student, you probably engage in physical activity. How do you incorporate working out and sports into your daily routine, and what benefits do you find from these activities?
Man, it feels good. That's all. It's simple as that. You go to the gym. You know, everyone like you know you're a student and you have a lot of things going on, which means like it can probably get stressful at times. And if you go to the gym and just take all that stress out, while on top of you did something good for your body, and you look good and you feel good, it's gonna get rid of some of that stress. So that's my way of going about it, and I've been doing it. I've been active for as long as I can remember, so it's more so of like, it's just part of my life. It's not necessarily I'm forcing myself to do this, right?
It's just something you enjoy, and
it's part of my identity, right?
Yeah, it makes you feel healthy, helps with your modeling career, and yeah, it's just for me. Yeah, I agree. It's the same thing, and it reduces my anxiety, man, stress, and I feel euphoric after. Like
you're doing something good for yourself. If you're ever doing anything that's good for your body, you're not wasting your time, so you feel productive. Yeah. And everyone just wants to feel productive. Nobody wants to feel like they're wasting their time, right?
Yeah.
And like that's my way of going about it. Like that's my excuse. If I ever procrastinate by going to the gym, I'm like, it's not procrastination.
You're augmenting the mind, body, and soul, bro.
100%.
You are upgrading life sensory experience. I
Mhm.
mean, all of life is sensory, but I am also a believer that there is the soul and it's not just all sensory. But I think it's crazy how some people don't work out when really it just makes everything better. The colors are brighter. The TV show that you're gonna watch that night is better. You can absorb
Your
information at a
sleep's gonna be
faster
better.
rate. Your muscles get bigger. Your skin is just glowing, right? Especially if you get a good sweat in, incorporate cardio, and
You walk better and you
yeah.
talk better too. As soon
Yeah.
as you get out of that
Yeah.
gym, you just feel nice and it shows in your demeanor, right?
Yeah,
And
you
like the way.
feel amazing,
Mhm.
incredible, and I feel like a lot of people need to implement that on their not necessarily daily. I'd encourage. I hope everybody does it daily, but I know it's not the reality.
Everyone has their own methods of it. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to go to the gym and like lift a
Mhm.
bunch of heavy weights. Like if you
Yeah.
like to go on a run or you like to stretch a lot or do yoga or whatever,
Yeah,
it's like keeping you healthy. Like that's essentially the purpose. It'll make you feel good, right?
there's different routes to it. It's not just
100%.
lifting weights. Because when people say hit the gym, it's only just lifting weights.
There's
or
yoga mats
cardio.
at the gym too, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Foam
climbing.
rolls at the gym. There's that stretching machine at the gym.
Yeah, there's
All those
different
things can be
types
used
of
as well.
machines. Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you meditate?
I do. I did before I came here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, man. I don't think we've ever talked about meditation on this podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me what it's like for you.
It's like I incorporate it with going to the gym as well. Like the meditation techniques that I use. It's essentially it's not too deep. It's just breathing. Um, I incorporate breath work into all parts of my life. If I need to decompress, I'll sit by myself somewhere, and then you just close your eyes and then slow down your breath. Everything's connected to your breath, right? Your heart rate, your blood flow, all that stuff that keeps you like stressed and amped up and keeps your mind racing all the time. It's connected to your breath. So if you slow down your breath, you'll slow down your heart rate, you'll slow down your thoughts. It'll help you be more present in the moment. And if you're preparing for something like a podcast that might make you nervous, it'll help you out. So
Yeah, bro. I've also been meditating for almost a couple of years now, and just focusing on your breath, focusing on the sensory experience, reduces anxiety. And if you incorporate that with working out, it's just such a
do it between your
beautiful
rests.
life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm even thinking like during the lift, like there's meditation involved. Like you're inhaling like on the way down, exhaling on the way out, and if you focus on that, um, not only does it make your workouts better, but like mentally, like it helps you recover faster. And then between your rests, instead of scrolling on your phone or talking to someone, uh, you can just sit by yourself and do that breath work for like a minute or 2 minutes or how long it takes you like between sets.
Like hone in on those emotions that you feel, the feeling, and be in the moment. And there's this book
Be in
with
the moment.
Eckhart Tolle. It's called The Power of Now, and it's this idea of mindfulness, which is also its form of meditation, where you just uh, think of your thoughts, or like absorb the air that you're breathing, feel your surroundings, just visualize everything, take everything in for what it is. Stop worrying about yesterday. Stop worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow or 10 years from now. It's out of your control. Meditation is a way to just pull you back into reality, to pull you in and be grounded. And that's where meditating in nature is also a great way.
Man, they're just calling me down right now.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I'm calm as hell, man. I can be. Dude,
the whole first half of this podcast, I'm like you're gonna see it. I'm like shaking, I'm rushing my words, and now I'm like smooth
calm
and steady. Yeah.
Dude, this is a beautiful mic. Look at it. It's just like a little.
It's the studio space too.
Yeah.
You created the space for the little humidifier there, all that.
Yeah. Did I make it comfortable, man?
You did make it comfortable.
Yeah, I got a plant there, just for nature, bro. I got some water for us. Gotta make it a homey. Got the lights.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you. How do you prioritize self-care when there's so much responsibility like work, school, and social life?
Well, if you don't take care of yourself, everything else that you just mentioned, it's gonna fall apart, and in one way or another, right? You're gonna crash out eventually, and that's not productive for anybody.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna be able to work at your best. You're not gonna be able to study at your best, and you're not gonna be able to do any of your passions or interact with your friends or family at the way you want to. So what's the point?
Yeah, bro. I when I work out, I always think, oh, what if I could use this time to study? What if I could use this time to spend time with my friends, with my family, to do the things that seem uh, more productive in the sense where you're actually gaining knowledge, right? And it's not just repetition, because a lot of people view working out as, bro, you're turning into a meathead. But no, it actually augments every facet of your life. Like when you get the blood flowing, you feel you rejuvenated, and when you present yourself to the people that you love, care about, you are so much more patient. You're a lot more dialed into the conversation, and you have more insights to bring and more love to share around.
Your friends and family are also grateful for you taking care of yourself as well. Like they want you to be healthy, so
Yeah,
they're gonna be happy for you.
and there's the burden too of sickness. Right? People get sick. It's heavy on the family members, friends. Nobody
Exactly.
wants to get cancer and in many cases it is just in the genetics and there's nothing you can do, but you can reduce the chances. You
Like
can.
work on what you can control, right?
Exactly. Yeah, dude, I love that idea of just focus on what you can control. Like sometimes I get bogged down on, oh, bro, what if I don't become this? What if I don't hit this point and I die? And then I'm like, that's out of my control, right? When I'm driving, when I was driving here earlier, I felt like I was thinking about drunk drivers, and I'm like, man, I'm a good driver, but then if somebody just swings into my car, but then I'm like, there's nothing I can do about that. It's out of my control. So there's no point in just repeating that in my head, right?
Yeah.
Focus on the gym. Focus on the relationships that we have, just the now.
You can't be paranoid about everything, right? All you can do is just put one foot in front of the other, and then
Yeah,
you
bro.
know it'll lead you to somewhere.
Yeah,
Right?
somewhere. Just never stop. Um, why do you think people don't care about men's mental health or not as much as other demographics?
Social media is a huge part of this as well.
Mhm.
Just constantly being told like
Mhm.
we don't need it. Like every man is just supposed to thug it out, and
Mhm.
you toughen up, and you'll, like I said, this new generation, they're being fed these things, uh, that tell them, hey, like you're a man, tough it up, like you don't need to feel anything, just keep your head down and keep fucking working, like, and it's just gonna like that it's gonna brainwash the next generation, and you're gonna have all these kids thinking that's the truth, that you don't need to have feelings or you don't need to express yourself in any sort of way, and they'll all start being that fake tough again, right?
Yeah, I think traditionally our parents were just raised up traditionally. They were taught to stuff their feelings down and to just put one foot in front of the other and neglect that emotion that's building inside of them. And what ends up happening is it comes out and it just comes out in rage and resentment and just deep
Mm-hmm.
suffering.
You
And
explode.
yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, and a child, but it just seems like since men are viewed as providers, they are seen as someone who can go through anything when that's not the reality of it because like men do have feelings too. I mean, that's
Yeah, like as providers, it's like it's more than just being a tool. Yeah,
yeah.
like we we gotta be at like the best mentally to provide in the first place. So it's like counteractive to not want to make sure that all guys have like their head in check,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We need to reduce that stigma, bro. It's just that's why I always try to incorporate that, and even at Millennium Place, man, I'll always just sprinkle that in, like here for you, bro. And I don't make it, what's that called? I don't want to sound like, I don't want to make it seem like a bitch, you know, because it's not being a bitch. It's, you know, it's manly to have emotion.
Yeah,
man, and we gotta be there for each other. You know, there's nothing wrong with just having.
Don't worry about
problems.
looking tough. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, bro.
The more you worry about looking tough, the less tough you're going to look.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you're gonna be a lot more
feel
tough.
those emotions. Come on, you want to cry. I know you do.
Yeah, there's someone crying here right now. But we give you the what's it? What's the word I'm looking
Permission.
for? Permission.
Yeah,
We give you the permission to cry right now.
Mm-hmm.
I might just cry right now, bro.
If Advin greenlights it, go ahead. He's
Aarsh
the truth right
Verg.
now.
Yeah, the times I've cried, man, it feels great. Like I feel just relieved. Versus if I just ball that in, I don't let it flow.
It's like, you know how when you get like super nauseous and you can't throw up, and like that feeling's worse, but then when you actually throw up, it feels better. It feels good to get rid of all that.
Yeah.
It's the same way. Or like when you're trying to sneeze but you can't sneeze.
Yes.
You know, you
Yeah.
don't get that release. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with crying. If you don't release all that, it's gonna explode and you're gonna take it out on someone that's close to you, and then it's just gonna like that's not productive for anyone. That's damaging to people, and yeah, like give them the green light to let them out.
Yeah. Just because they're men doesn't mean they need to put up this fronts of being stoic all the time. Well, it's important that they. Okay,
That being
there's a.
said, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
I was just gonna say that being said, it doesn't mean turn everyone into your therapist. That's not what it means. Like you gotta find the right outlet. Like you can't just cry in front of everybody and then just trauma dump to like every single person, because then it's not gonna help. They're like, of course the average person's gonna be nice and they mean well and want to help you, but they don't know how to, right? And if you put them in the position and if you put that pressure on them when they don't know you, it'll be a little bit more difficult, and they don't want that for you. They don't want you to be in a difficult spot. But so if you have someone you can, you gotta know who you can like vent to, right?
Who the real ones are, because some people you tell them this thing you are insecure about, this dilemma that's taken over your life, they'll use it against you. So you have to choose the right people.
Wisely.
Choose wisely. The people who genuinely care, and they're the ones that. The formula for a friend that not formula, the kind of the code system
Recipe?
that I have. What's that?
Recipe.
The recipe. I can't be made. I guess that's what it is. That friends should be there for each other in times of achievement and despair. And when you present them that achievement, they don't boast about their own achievement. Or when you present them with despair, they don't talk about how their lives are worse. They just listen and they celebrate, right? They celebrate in times of achievement, and they listen to you and feel for you in times of failure. And I think if you've got a person that checks those two boxes, then you've got someone real. And everything else is just whether they do this annoying thing. Okay, that's just your personal kind of, maybe you don't have any interests. But a real friend, I've had friends that I have nothing in common with, but they know how to act like a good human being that treats another good human being good. Right?
If they're right for you, like if you gotta know what's right for you in terms of what's productive for you. Like if you if the people that are in your circle, if they're not productive for you, they're not. Then it's a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
And some people might see that as a little bit abrasive, but at the end of the day, like we're all here for ourselves, so we got to pick the people that are also here for us. Otherwise, like, what's the point?
Yeah, of course.
You're just gonna be getting held down, and then
Mhm.
um, they're not gonna like be a part of your success or journey to whatever goal that you have, right?
And it also depends on how you feel coming out of the interaction. Like if it's just continuously just feeling depleted, feeling not heard, then you might need to choose a different friend. And the trouble with that is too is what if it's a family member? Hey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then try to talk to them and try to tell them, hey, this is an ongoing issue for me and this is a problem. You need to have those tough conversations as well because in relationship nobody's perfect, right? You can't just give up on people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just
And if what helps you out isn't venting, it's just a distraction, a time off.
mhm.
Like that's productive too. If you just need someone to like, if you just need a gym buddy to someone to go work out with, and you don't necessarily need to talk to them about anything,
Mhm.
um, that's a form of self care as well. That's a form of like doing something that's productive to yourself. It's helping you reach where you want to be.
And I also want to add that just because you're going through something doesn't mean you should whine and complain the whole time because there's a fine line between being vulnerable and being weak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, being vulnerable is sharing the truth that you are suffering, that what you hold inside is heavy and you need some social support but you're not going to give up. Being weak is sharing all of that but not doing anything about it, acting like the victim and giving up and spreading hate and using that as a means to go about the world and instead of love, give hate because you've been hurt.
You're not doing the work
Yeah,
to work on yourself, so then you're just blaming it on everyone else. So,
true. Yeah, that's how it is. Um, what does confidence mean to you?
um, it just sort of being yourself in any scenario, right? No
Mhm.
matter what anyone says, like you're just comfortable in your own skin, right? Nobody's thinking about you as much as you think that they are. So
Mhm.
when that settles in, you start worrying less about like what's going on. Like just go out there and have fun, right?
Mhm.
Like and what it is that you do.
True. I think when you are just comfortable in your own skin, you look at the mirror and you just are happy with the scars that you have, that little
Mm-hmm.
weird eyebrow that sticks out, the kind of the hair that you have, the smile, the lips. And life is just so freeing and so liberating in
Yeah, you
every
can be
experience that
obsessive
you
about a
have.
lot of different details about yourself,
Mhm.
and the more you obsess about it, the more it'll show, right?
Yeah.
And everybody wants to be perfect at like some point. They want to
Mhm.
make sure everything about them looks good 100% of the time, but
Mhm.
the reality is it's not going to be that way. Like you're going to have a bad day,
Never. Yeah.
right? And you just sort of have to live with that. If you try to avoid the bad day, or if you try to like deny it, the worse it's just going to get,
Yeah.
right?
The more you run away from it,
There is no perfection, right? There is no
Mhm.
such thing, right?
yeah,
And
there's no such thing as perfection, and to attain to idealize perfection, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're going to see some flaws. And if you don't accept those flaws, then you're going to be very unhappy. You're setting yourself
yeah,
up for
the
failure.
only time you see perfection is on social media which, like I said, they're lying to you. It's not real, right? So perfection is not real either.
And going back to social media, it's also the perspective you have. Like, are you happy for these people? When you see that, do you feel jealous? Do you feel like something's getting taken away from you? Do you feel like the victim? Because I used to scroll down my social media and I go, oh, this person's on vacation. Oh, this person's good looking. Oh, this person has this, something that I don't have. And when I did a little, I was still on my phone just the same amount. I did a perspective shift and I looked at that post and I go, I'm happy for that person. Good job. Amazing. And then maybe I'd drop a comment and I meant it. It felt so freeing, bro. But I still know so many people that are jealous, envious.
And people are gonna look at things like that, like what you do, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're being fake." Like if they're negative, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's being fake. He's just doing it to get approval from whoever it is he's seeing."
Yeah.
Like
He's
people
trying
can
to
spin
increase.
anything to make it look bad. So
Yeah.
no matter what it is, you can't listen to that, right? So
Facts.
if someone wants to make you look bad, if somebody wants to destroy your image in any way, they can.
Yeah.
So don't even like listen to the noise. It's anything can be vulnerable, like anything can be used as like a target, if that makes sense.
I appreciate that you brought that up. I've come into that situation where I have been super kind to certain people, but they interpret it as fake. And I heard it from another person, and it was a trusted friend that told me, so I trust that they had told me the truth. And when I had engaged in the supposedly fake interaction, I actually genuinely meant it. But from their perspective, it was like I was trying to get something out of them, but I wasn't. But like as you said, if somebody wants to see the bad, they'll look for it, right? And if you believe them, then it'll become real. But if you go about the world and you just look at the truth in your soul, in your mind, in your own being, and trust yourself, then it doesn't matter if they say you're fake. It doesn't matter if they say you're ugly, you're a bitch, you're a pussy. It doesn't matter all that shit talk.
They don't know you.
They don't know you.
They don't. That's another thing that like helps in being confident. You gotta understand that no one actually knows who you are. If you put your insecurities out there, like if you do stuff for validation and you constantly you lay out all your cards, like, oh, I drive this car, I have this like really hot girlfriend, like I make this much money, and you tell like you're putting that information out there all the time, it doesn't come off as genuine, right? It comes off as like you need that validation, and people who can see that will exploit that. They'll know like, oh, he's probably just like super insecure, right? And the only people who are going to be jealous of that stuff are people who are insecure about themselves, right? You're just going to be attracting like more negativity.
It really depends what you're trying to foster. What kind of, if you're looking to build a community, whether it be on social media, in real life, you have to choose people with qualities such as loyalty, honesty, authenticity, instead of lots of money, instead of just being attractive, right? Well, that's important, and like looks and physical health, they're great primary indicators of just social status, and you want to be amongst those people. You also need to surround yourself with people who want the best for you.
Yeah. I think if they don't talk about it, if you see someone who's like if you see someone's qualities that you admire about them and they don't bring it up, that to me is confidence. Like,
yeah, bro.
Like if I see someone who's like super jacked or like super, like they're really good at basketball or like they can lift a lot of weight, or I don't know, like anything that's like that stands out to me, and I'm like, this guy has not brought this up once, right? So
Either he's just a genetic freak or he's just really humble.
he's just really humble. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm like, yo, if I was you, I'd be talking about this all the time, right? You know.
Yeah,
So like,
I heard that one buddy of mine say that to my other friend. Bro, if I was you, I'd be just flexing all the time. But the other guy's just very humble, and it speaks actions speak so much louder than words. Right? If you go about the world and you have all this money, you look this good, and you still treat other people equally, even though you're here, you're still treating the janitor, the bus driver, the McDonald's worker with love, gratitude, and respect. That speaks so much louder, and that makes you beautiful. That made
it's because those are the type of people that know that they know their insecurities, right? And they embrace them. They're not necessarily like putting it out there. Like, if they were the opposite, if they're all like, oh, look, I have all these big muscles, I have like all this and that, I'm like, oh, they're trying to hide something. They're trying to cover something up.
True.
And you're just going to give people, eventually, you're going to piss someone off to the point where they're going to get incentive to find all your insecurities and then it'll fire back on you. And that's not what you want, right?
Yeah, bro. You breed kind of what you look for, right? What's the saying? What's the saying go? How does that go again?
You reap what you sow.
What's that?
You reap what you sow.
Yes, that one. Yeah. What you put out into the world, that's what you're gonna get. If you're giving hate, if you're getting just complaining all the time and looking for the bad in people and finding the negativity when there's 99% positivity, you still see the glass as half empty, right? As 1% empty, then something's wrong. Like, and you probably should introspect. It's probably in your character. It's the maladaptive trait.
What also about that is when people who have like that 1%, you know, and they tend to also accept a lot more negativity. They tend to let a lot of things slide as a form of like, oh, I probably deserve, like deep down, I probably deserve this because I have this thing about me, which is indicative of like a bad person, right? So in that sense, if this person does me wrong, it's fine because I deserve it. And then it's just that on top of the other, right? But if you do things generally with good intent all the time, no matter like how you feel, if someone does you wrong, you'll know like you don't deserve that. And you know you can just get rid of, like, you can shut that out. Like if I have a friend who's all of a sudden being malicious towards me, and I know like all I've meant is well, it's easy to cut them out, right? Because then I know like, okay, it's not a problem within me, it's a problem that they have to go sort out, right?
Bro, I came across that thought just a week ago. It just popped in my head that the only times I'm guilty are the times where I know I did something wrong, right? If I talk to my boss or I talk to a friend and they seem like angry about something, maybe it's in their facial expressions, maybe it's in the tone of their voice, maybe they're treating me maliciously, and I go, okay, I deserve it because maybe I didn't do the dishes and my mom's mad, or maybe I didn't let the dogs out when I said I did. Maybe I was just on my phone too much, my boss is angry. Or it could be much deeper. Maybe I backstabbed them. You should only be sad, right? Or you should only really care about the people treating you bad if you did something wrong. But if you abide by the truth, if you stay humble, if you stay loyal, if you stay positive amidst the chaos, there's nothing to fear.
You know that you're not the problem, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, bro. If you got a buddy out there that's just suddenly acting like they're better, they're acting like they're just the man of the house and they're the alpha and they treat you unequally, then get rid of them. If you stay true to yourself, there's no point in
It also helps if you just don't take everything bad that happens to you personally, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, even if someone does you dirty, like bad, someone with good character is just gonna walk away or like find a way to like retaliate in the healthiest way possible. Like everyone lashes out at some point. There's no judgment towards that. Um, like not you can't expect everyone to act in good character 100% of the time. But if you mean well, um, and you don't take anything personally, it kind of goes back to the same thing. It's not your fault. Like it's probably just like a response within themselves, and you don't have to worry about it. And if I didn't lash out, if I didn't do anything, and like they retaliate anyway, like that's proof right there. But then like if I do, like let's say all of a sudden like we break out in a fight and I say some like really nasty things about you that like cuts deep, right? Anything that happens to me thereon, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right?
Don't call me a bad podcaster. That's my deepest insecurity, bro.
Sounds cool. Well, now it's out there, so anyone who comes and says it to Advin, now you know that they're just trying to.
You know my. Dude, when you come across someone who is very hateful, and in retaliation, you give them love, it pisses them off even more.
Kill them with kindness, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't lie, I'm not that kind of person all the time. Like,
yeah.
I have a tendency to fight fire with fire, and that's like a very bad that's my toxic trait, right? Like I'll give it back, and I'm like, like that's an ego thing, it's he did me wrong, or like he or she did me wrong, I'll do them worse, right?
Yeah.
Type of stuff, but again, that's also something that I'm working on, right? And I've started to do that more and more, just let things go more and more, and it makes things easier. Like I've cut out a lot of people that are toxic to me instead of just fighting back, right? Which is my natural instinct. Like I'll fight back, but it's way better. Like everything else just flows a lot smoother, and you start to notice like it's easier to see good in someone. Now, I'll keep it a buck with you right now. That thing when you said about like, oh, people like used to see me as like fake and all that stuff, I can't lie, I low-key thought the same thing. Like when I first met you. But then I think about that time, like when you first met me, that was probably when I was at like the peak of like, hateful, I say. Does that make sense? Or negativity, right? So obviously I think that, but since then I've made progress, and like I don't see that no more, right?
I respect, man. A lot of people say the same thing. They think they meet me and they think, oh, why is this guy so positive? Why is this guy so interested? He must be trying to get something out of me. Well, I wonder what it is. He's trying to use me. But
because I've had that happen to me before. Like people will just be nice to you just to get things out of you, and that's not a fun place to be in, right? But so far you've proven yourself.
Okay. But then it's constant exposure though. Like when I see you next, am I still gonna present myself as somebody who cares about what you're doing? Am I gonna be someone like okay, maybe first impressions, right? Maybe it was bad. But the constant exposure of when you see me at the gym, am I happy to see you? Are you happy to see me? It has to go both ways. Are we actually vibing? Right? Are we respectful to each other? And it's like repetition on top of repetition, because building a friendship, it's not just the one go. It's many times, because I've seen you at Bethel 100 times. I've seen you at the gym. I've seen you this. Now, is it consistent with how I've been acting in regards to respect, in regards to honesty, in regards to loyalty, and just listening? But because there are people, okay, maybe 9 times out of 10, they're amazing. They treat you well. But then one time, why is it not in sync with the other times? And maybe there's something going on in their home life. Maybe there's something like in their head, and then maybe they're taking it out on you. But it's good to be honest about it too, and not to lash out onto other people. 'Cause I have those days too, and I just, you know what? I kind of just, I still act like myself. I'd never dish it out onto other people, but I know some friends too, and they just tell me, "Hey, man, it's not a good day. I'm not acting like myself, and sorry if I make you feel like."
They'll know
yeah, yeah.
if they're a real one, like they'll know it's not you if you happen to lash out.
Yeah.
Right? Like if it's an odd day, like they're not gonna hold it against you, right?
For sure.
As long as you don't take it too far. Like there's obviously a limit,
Yeah.
right? But how much that person trusts you is like the limit that they have, right?
Yeah, dude. But yeah, man, that pretty much just covers everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the long-term podcast.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, bro. Man, that was actually
That was deep, man.
very deep. I really liked that conversation, bro.
Yeah.
That was. I learned a lot. That okay. It just reinforced a lot of things that I already believed in, and I think it bonded us, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm in love.
What?
No. No homo.
No Diddy.
No Diddy. Sus, man. It's acting
Yeah,
sus. But, bro, that you just changed my perspective on modeling too, and how I view it as an art form, and just reinforced a lot of the ideas around loyalty and just the gym. Just reinforced, just iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah, I hope I explained everything as good as I could, because I can't lie, like,
Yeah.
I was nervous as hell coming into this, so,
You'll be back again.
oh yeah, you want to back with people? Yeah, I'd love to
dude.
come back.
Where can people access your work?
All my stuff is on Instagram, aa.verg. That's just all like the freelance stuff I have out there. I might make a separate page for modeling, like sometime in the future, like if I happen to work with an agency that I can trust. But yeah, I'll keep everyone updated, and obviously, with you and your connections to the, how would you say, the elites.
The elites. No, we're all equal.
Yeah.
Everybody can come on the podcast.
Of course.
Everyone's elites.
Everyone's an elite once you know it. Once you find that confidence, once you know yourself, you're an elite. It doesn't matter who you are, so
everybody's got it in them.
Exactly.
As long as you believe in yourself.
You got a stroke victim last week. That guy's an elite.
Yeah.
He knows himself, so.
Oh, yesterday. And he still showed up here, man. His name's Evan Mudrick. And he just showed up here and he got his word across. Shout out to Evan. Confidence. But as always, everyone, there's a place for you in this chaotic world. Keep going. Never give up. And keep it long term. Peace. That was awesome.